All gifts are tax deductible and 100% of your donation will save babies. To donate securely...
Kidding me? They're tax deductible donations? That's disgusting. How degenerate, man. I hate
pound
these people.
250.
Matt Walsh, the soy lord himself. We just got done with an entire segment, a very, very long segment that would likely be broken up into several parts, about Sweet Baby Inc. Not Sweet Baby Gang, okay? Not the Matt Walsh diaper fetish gang. Sweet Baby Inc., who is basically a video game consultant company that is responsible for like going over people's video game scripts and their dialogues and their characters and just making sure that it's all kind of on the up and up, diversity wise, and just making it a better game. Basically, they just make a good game a better game, right? Is what they do, or a bad game a better game. Who knows? But not everybody likes this because one of their focuses is on diversity and inclusion, because that is a real thing that exists in our society. Is we have a diverse population of people, and I think that's actually pretty cool. But not everybody likes that, and Matt Walsh happens to be one of those people. So we have a video from Matt Walsh called "The Dark Side to the Video Game Industry," and I very much would like to see what's got him all up in a hissy. So let's take a look.
So here's a statistic that, at least if you were born at any point prior to the 1990s, might be hard to believe.
Oh, well, that's not me.
By revenue, the gaming industry is bigger than both the movie industry and the music industry combined. And
you wouldn't
for the
think with
past
how they're
several
paid.
years, it hasn't been especially close. The difference is consistently more than $100 billion per year. So video games are a massive market, one that's mostly targeted at young people, of course. But despite those numbers, for the most part, the games industry has avoided mainstream scrutiny. You'll see far more discussion about, say, Sydney Sweeney or Taylor Swift than you'll ever see about prominent video game.
Well, wait, Taylor Swift was like the conservatives' fault. That's partly Matt Walsh's fault. Wait, did Matt Walsh do a video on Taylor Swift? Let's check. Matt Walsh defends Taylor Swift? Conservatives critiquing Taylor Swift need to think twice. Okay, hey, credit where credit's due. She's not the problem, he says. Okay, fair enough. He's consistent. Let's keep going.
Game voice actors and directors who pretty much no one knows anything about. Everyone's heard of Lionsgate or Paramount, but almost no one's heard of studios like Don't Nod Entertainment, for example. And that's significant because these no-name studios are behind the single most coordinated effort to indoctrinate millions of children through entertainment that's ever occurred in this country. This effort is maybe more powerful than the teachers' unions, if only because these propagandists mostly work in secret. Even if you...
The teachers' unions, who famously have an agenda to push onto children, like teaching them.
homeschool your children, they're not immune to it. You might have heard something about one of the companies behind this indoctrination effort called Sweet Baby Inc. or SBI. And in a moment, I'll get into the details about what exactly
Come on, bring up the Sweet Baby Gang.
That organization is doing and who's helping
Sweet
them
Baby
do it.
Gang.
But first, I want to get the good news out of the way.
The good news is that it's not associated with Sweet Baby Gang at all, right? Come on, say something about it. It's exactly the same name. Come on, be funny for a minute.
Which is that if there's any silver lining, it's that this effort to indoctrinate children is incredibly ham-fisted. Some of the dumbest people in the world are behind it. So take that studio I just mentioned, Don't Nod Entertainment. They're behind the very popular Life is Strange video game series, which has been played by tens of millions of people. And to give you an idea of how overt the propaganda is in Life is Strange, here's just one mercifully short sequence involving, what else? A racist white guy.
Wait, I've played Life is Strange. What? The only thing that was wrong with that is that it was kind of boring. Like, it was a little boring. Not gonna lie. Like, I did play it and I did enjoy it, but it was a little bit boring. It was a little bit, it wasn't my style, basically. Like, it was fine. Katie really liked it. Katie loved that game, but there's nothing like, the only woke thing in that was like, there was a gay kiss at the end and that's it.
There's some backstory about how he kidnapped an innocent Hispanic kid or something. And then this, watch.
Gonna tell the police you kidnapped me.
Nice try. But I know who you are and what you did in Seattle. I saw it in the paper. Maybe I should call ICE to make sure you're a citizen.
You hillbilly. I'm American.
Jesus Christ.
Punk.
Whatever.
Okay.
Going to jail for this.
Pretty sure the local police will vouch for me over a thug like you.
Oh, this is Life is Strange too. Gotcha.
Where's my brother?
Wish I knew. Little took off. I'll find him. Don't worry.
If you touch him...
You think I'd hurt a little boy? Guess you didn't have any second thoughts about leaving him out into the middle of nowhere, though. That's real safe for a little kid.
But he just did. What is he, the bad guy? He just did hurt a little boy. He's lying.
If he's lucky, he won't end up like his criminal big brother.
Just let me go.
It is really bad.
Please.
You're the reason we need to build that wall. You hold tight.
It's almost like if a Darman skit were more gritty.
Now, I guess I lied. I said that it was mercifully short, but that felt like 3 hours long.
It did
And I
feel
will say
very
also
long.
That, this is neither here nor there. Well, maybe it's not, but when I obviously I don't pay much attention to video games. When I started looking into the story we're talking about now and watching some of these videos, I was like, I sort of
Like the premise is fine. Like it's a good like it's an entertaining premise that was shittily done. Like it was just bad. The dialogue was bad. It wasn't believable. Like I lost focus. Like I was not entertained.
expected the graphics and just the overall quality to be better now, and than it is, because really low quality all around. But he says,
But that's one example from one game that was a sequel to a much better game. Like this is very cherry picked.
we need to build a wall. That's according to the white racist kidnapping the innocent Hispanic boy. And this is a game that, if Wikipedia is to be believed, received generally positive reviews upon release. Critics praised the story. So we can conclude that the bar is incredibly low in this entire industry.
Okay, I see what he's saying. He's saying that this game was trying to indoctrinate people who played it. By the way, this game is not for the youth. I'm sorry. It's not. Like, there's like violence in the shit in that game. Okay, it's not for anybody, like maybe teenagers, but I feel like it's largely for adults, yeah? Maybe like 16.
All that developers have to do is beat their audience over the head with rote left-wing propaganda, and their
Yeah, it
game
came
will
out in
be well
2018.
reviewed and well received. The more recent game, Suicide Squad, is another prominent example. They decided to write a story
Oh,
about
God, here we go.
Batman's toxic masculinity, which ended with a girl boss shooting Batman. Spoiler, apologize for that, should have warned you. Anyway, here's part of that sequence.
Okay.
You had a good run, Brucey.
I know those
Flying
guys.
around Gotham, punching bad guys, clean up the streets. causing
Oh, Harley.
long-term
Oh!
mental and emotional damage
so hot.
to everyone you knew.
Oh, he doesn't look good.
It's our turn now.
Oh, shit.
After all we've been through. Oh. Bet you didn't think it'd be me at the end, huh, Bets?
Uh-oh.
Are we done with your bad stand-up routine?
Almost. But you always gotta
Bad
end on
stand-up.
your best joke.
Damn. I wish you would do that to me. Ah!
Yeah, I can't watch any more of that. That's
Perfectly cut shots.
Okay, well, you can imagine just how many purple-haired women must work at that studio. I mean, they probably provide the hair dye on tap in their company.
What's with them in
Now, I
purple
didn't play
and
that
blue
game,
hair?
obviously. I haven't played any of these games. I'm not a video game fan or player, as most people I think know by now. But the point is that these clips were all over the internet because of how awful they are. They're just terrible in every way, even just from a quality perspective. Again, they're bad, even if you happen to agree with their politics. But the fact remains
Again,
that
cherry pick.
for children of a certain age, the propaganda
Again, God of War Ragnarok was worked on by Sweet Baby Inc. and it was great. It was critically acclaimed.
doesn't need to be subtle. All they got to do is present it to children, and it can be effective.
That's not a child's game. That was so clearly not a child's game. No, at best teenager. That's rated M for mature probably, isn't it? Here, what's it rated? 18 plus rating. Hello? Oh, you let your kids play Suicide Squad? Why? You must be a terrible parent. Again, with these conservatives getting mad at the industry when they should be mad at the parent. Sometimes it's the parent's fault. Don't let your kids play Suicide Squad. Do you know what's in that game? There's a reason that it's rated 18 plus. So
That's
stupid.
why some anonymous people using the games platform Steam
Same thing with Has Been
decided to
Hotel.
figure out exactly who's putting this garbage in games and why. They found that the company I mentioned earlier, called Sweet Baby Inc. I have to say, no relation to the Sweet Baby game.
Yes,
I
there
throw
it
off
is!
Any association.
We got it.
I would file a
We got it.
lawsuit for copyright
Let's go.
infringement, if not for the fact that I don't have a copyright. And also, Sweet
Let's
Baby
go.
Inc. existed first.
It's about damn
technically,
time.
But never mind that. Anyway,
The
these people
diaper
on,
fetish
Steam
gang,
found
let's
that
go.
Sweet Baby Inc. has contracted with major publishers to push the principles of DEI
Gotta
in
make
video
them
games
duties,
as
baby.
aggressively as possible. Sweet Baby Inc. or SBI worked with the developers of the game I just showed you, Suicide Squad, and they've also had a role in several other major releases recently. On their
Like,
website, SBI
such as, oh, you can't say that part because some of them are actually really good.
boasts that they're committed to installing principles of diversity into games, and they do it forcibly. In fact, the founder and CEO of SBI, a woman named Kim Belair, recently spoke to game developers and instructed them to threaten their companies unless they comply with Sweet Baby's DEI mandates.
This clip again.
Watch.
And if you're in
We've been over this clip, but for the sake of the video, she's telling people who are employed at these industries, hey, go tell your bosses what will happen if they don't take your ideas. Go tell them that it will not be well received by the audience and that they will be the main ones taking the backlash for it. You know? Go tell them that the game won't perform well. Tell them these things, you know? Like, relay information to them.
in development and you are part of like that dominant voice, you're like a cis hetero white dude or just adjacent to that, do not wait until the end to call your consultants. Bring them in at the beginning, and instead of asking them, hey, is this very racist thing we did very racist, or is this deeply offensive thing we did deeply offensive, are you
Okay, this is a different clip, by the way.
hurt by it? Ask them what they want to see. Like, ask them what would thrill them, what would bring them joy. And if you have a team lead, put that request to them very, very early.
They're just a
If you're
consultant
creative working at
agency.
AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
Okay, that is the clip. Yeah. They just gave a little bit more context than most give. So you saw the context. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, terrify your marketing team. Say, hey, listen, this game, the marketing for it, is going to be dog shit if we don't run with this thing that Sweet Baby Gang or whatever it is set to run with. Sweet Baby Inc.
So this is how DEI works in every industry, of course. The goal is not to improve the company's
It's
product
only that
in
clip.
any
It's
way.
only that
It's
clip.
to blackmail
They're losing their shit over one clip ever.
companies and threaten them into submission. And in this case, they're just saying it out loud. Pay
Was there even an SJW with that angle with that last clip? Or is he just mad that an established woman shot Batman? That's what I thought too. I thought maybe that I missed it, that I missed like the liberal SJW woke purple-haired, blue-haired bullshit. But like no, I didn't. It was just Harley being Harley Quinn. Like, I'm not saying that it was well written. It was cheesy, but like it was just, that was Harley Quinn. That's her thing. That's what she does. Like there's no like girl bossing here. Like, not overtly at least. It's just like a villain. They're just mad. They're just mad that a woman had a man tied down, you know? That's what they're always mad about.
the DEI tax or we will destroy you. Only in the games industry, where everyone is dumber than they are in every other industry, do they just come right out and say it as directly as that. Along these lines,
No. They said the market will destroy you. People won't want to buy your shit.
as you might have guessed, so-called games journalists are somehow even dumber than journalists in other industries too, which, I mean, is really,
love going
really
after
saying something.
journalists.
They're just completely unable to hide their real goals or display any hint of subtlety whatsoever. For example,
By the way, I don't even particularly like a lot of game journalists as well. I think that a lot of them need to actually be gamers in order to be game journalists. But I probably take issue with them for different reasons than Matt Walsh does. Yeah, bad games are sometimes just bad games. It's nobody's fault, except for the people who made the games, I guess. But it's certainly not like wokeness and DEI that did it. It's just a bad game.
in response to clips like this surfacing, games writers have produced several articles portraying SBI as the victim of a harassment campaign, by which they mean people are noticing what SBI is doing, and we know that on the left, the worst thing you can ever do is just notice. Noticing is the greatest crime of all. I'm here today because my mother chose life, and you're here today because your mother chose life too. The miracle of life is a gift everyone deserves because every life is precious. That's why we've partnered with Preborn's network of clinics. Preborn introduces unborn babies to their mothers through ultrasound. After hearing her baby's heartbeat and seeing her precious baby, she can be twice as likely to choose life. Through love, compassion, and free ultrasounds, Preborn has rescued over 280,000 unborn babies, and every day their clinics rescue 200 unborn babies. Now that is a miracle. One ultrasound is just $28, the cost of a dinner, or you can sponsor 5 ultrasounds for
Oh, sorry. Oh, it costs money? Oh, I thought that they were like trying to save lives here. Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, I thought, I would have thought it'd be a nonprofit, but hey, it's just me. Oh, they're raking in big ones, convincing people to not get abortions? Cool. Okay. Got it.
$140, helping to rescue 5 unborn babies' lives. Any amount will help.
Dog, they had enough money to sponsor you, dude. Like, and it was a very weird time to switch to commercial. It was very jarring.
All gifts are tax deductible, and 100% of your donation will save babies. To donate securely,
Kidding me? They're tax deductible donations. That's disgusting. How Degenerate, man. I
Dial
hate
pound
these people.
250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250. Say the keyword baby, or go to
Baby gang.
preborn.com/Matt. That's preborn.com/Matt. Grand
should've been
Canyon
Baby
University
Gang.
is a private Christian university located in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. GCU believes that our Creator has endowed us with certain unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They believe in equal opportunities
For the
and that
cost of
American
a
dream
cup
is
of
given by
coffee.
purpose. GCU equips you to serve others in ways that promote your flourishing, which will create a ripple effect of transformation for generations to come. Whether you're pursuing a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree, Grand Canyon University's online, on-campus, and hybrid learning
His taxes should increase to increase funding for orphanages and free clinics for moms to have kids, and then federal funding for leave. I agree. That'd be a great tax increase, right, Matt? Right, Matt? Right, Matt? Right?
environments are designed to help
I'm sure
you
you'd love that
achieve
tax
your
increase,
degree.
right, Matt?
GCU has over 330 academic programs as of September 2023. GCU will meet you where you are and provide a path to help you fulfill your unique academic, personal, and professional
Oh, another
goals.
commercial.
Find your
Okay.
purpose today at Grand Canyon University, private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu. That's
I didn't even realize we were on another
gcu.edu.
commercial.
And people are noticing,
nice I have to
and
do it
so
twice.
that's harassment. It's harassment to notice.
Oh,
example, you saw-
we're just back in it. Okay. No clean cut or anything, just mid-sentence, cut it off and then swing back. Got it. High quality production here.
Writer for the website Polygon, Joshua
Not like my editor with
Rivera,
Right,
has
Dubsy?
responded to people who are concerned about SBI. Quote,
Don't do that.
He says, quote, in a just world, these clowns would have their Steam accounts turned off, their PlayStations bricked, and get booted from any respectable social platform. So
I agree.
in the games industry, the journalists just come right out and demand that you're deleted from the internet if you dare to look deeper into their narrative or to question anything they say.
What narrative?
So let's look deeper into the narrative in that case. In a recent podcast, Kim Belair explained
These people are pro-birth, not pro-life. No, they're forced birth. Okay, I'm pro-birth. All right. If you want to have birth, give birth. I'm pro-birth in that way. These people are forced birth. They're forced birthers.
that her company's mandate is to make every game
Pro-forced
political.
birth.
There has to be diverse representation in all contexts, even in, say, World War
If
I.
we can't force you to give birth, then we will do everything that, like, if we can't do it, like, if you don't want to give birth, we will force you to want to give birth, basically. Okay? We'll, like, emotionally manipulate you and shit.
One, watch.
A lot of the time, that kind of sensitivity work results in, cuts of certain things or slight changes. But what I prefer to do, and I don't really call it sensitivity reading, but I think of it as just, bringing representation to something, is trying to build a narrative and a story that include moments and elements custom made to bring representation and joy to people. Because that's kind of where, Sweet Baby lands on it. And I think it's the same way when we put diversity into the past. People go, oh no, but you're just putting diversity in. They don't even feel ready because they've been exposed to so much, whether it's whitewashed, whether it's just, colonized media, that they go, oh, there can't possibly have been diversity back then, because my understanding of it was that this was a homogenous time. And so I think I look at it like that.
That's true. This is 100%
Or they make
accurate.
excuses for it, like, yeah, well, sure, okay, maybe there were some women in World War I that were on the front lines, but it was only in these specific situations, so we shouldn't show it in the game.
Exactly. You have so much of
Okay, my thing is, if you're making a video game about World War I, like, it's already going to be fictional to some extent. It has to be, okay? And I don't know, like, if you're going to put women in the front lines of World War I, like, okay, make it 90% of them. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Like, okay, it's World War I and women are the ones who are enlisted, not men. Great. Is it a fun game? Does it have a compelling plot? Does it have good online play? Like, what are the mechanics like? Like, let's talk about the game. Like, these people are just obsessed with this bullshit. Like, who cares? Okay, girl boss World War I, got it. Okay, great.
that happening. And
Love it.
for me, there's so
As long as
many
it's a good game.
leaps that we already take with history. There are so many things that we decide are
And they do
true,
have a
and
very good logo.
So many of the protagonists that we choose for our games are.
I will say, if you're going to, with this logo though, if you're going to shrink it down, I would simplify it a little bit. I would take the snake out and I would just make, it looks a little bit too much like Assassin's Creed in my opinion if you take the snake off, but I would take the snake off and just make it just the triangle looking thing with the swerves on the ends.
exceptional by their nature. So why not take
Yeah,
that further?
exactly.
So SBI wants to, quote,
Yeah, who
build a
cares?
narrative and a story that includes
By the way, Call of Duty Black Ops was total bullshit from front to back. You play as like a Black Ops organization guy. What was his name? What are the numbers? Is it Jason? The number's Jason. What do they mean? I think it's Jason, right? Like that was all bullshit from front to back. It's not historically accurate. And yet they want to get mad at Sweet Baby Inc. for daring to suggest that like there might have been a few women here and there in World War I. Okay. I guess that's the level of logic that we're operating on. Mason, that's what it was. Not Jason. Mason, thank you. The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? I love that shit.
moments and elements custom made to bring representation and joy to people. And she uses the example of World War I. Well, if you're familiar with the history at all, there were not a lot of women fighting on the front lines of World War I.
I don't care.
But they shoehorn that into their game anyway, because at every possible opportunity, they need to minimize and demonize white men. White men cannot be the hero of anything, even historical events where they were the heroes, like World War I.
Wait. White men were also the villains, though, by that logic, right? They were also the villains.
And many other historical events, by the way. White men have been the heroes of many.
And the villains!
But, that can't be allowed to happen in games because they have to attack white
God,
men.
you're just such a baby. Yeah, okay, we get it. White men were the heroes sometimes. Good job. Good job, buddy. You did it. You really did it, Matt. Fantastic work. You're right. You're right, man. Good job. Is that what you wanted? You fat baby?
Men whenever possible. We're seeing this at all levels in the gaming industry. Here, for example, is Danny Lalanders.
So
she
true,
works,
bestie.
Reportedly used to work at Sweet Baby Inc. just a year ago, and now she works for a studio at EA, one of the biggest game studios on the planet. And watch as she explains why she doesn't hire white people.
Of course
on
he's
her
making
team,
shit up as he goes.
Because apparently they commit all kinds of microaggressions. Watch.
I have a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games. But who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. And I know the best way.
Hold on, I didn't get done reading it. Who is your team? What does your team represent? What is the goal you and your team want to achieve? How will you and your team work together to achieve this goal? I think that's fine.
I wanted people. Who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. And I know the best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me. And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying.
Of course it's from Lives of
I'm
TikTok.
saying that sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that something may okay, but it was really a microaggression. And no one wants to deal with that while they're trying to make a game that they love.
I just don't care. I don't care. Okay, go off, Queen. Fuck it. Okay, what am I gonna say? Okay, I'm not black. I could accidentally commit a microaggression like at any second, and then hopefully a black person will correct me, and I'll correct myself. Yeah, I'm not black. I don't know the microaggressions. Yeah, okay, fair point.
Now,
Who cares?
notice that she doesn't say what the microaggressions were that these terrible white people committed.
It's just to list them, just like Matt Walsh always does. He's always very specific whenever he speaks.
Imagine maybe those nasty white people said something nice about her hair. Maybe they asked where she was from. Maybe they said, hey, cut.
No. It's not about saying nice things about your hair. It's being like, can I touch your hair? That's a microaggression. Okay? That's a big one. I know that one. Hey, your hair looks nice. Can I touch it? Okay? And yeah, asking where you're from, okay, can be a neutral question, sure. But if you only ask that question to people of color, you might be committing a microaggression. If you're in a room full of people and you specifically go to the black person and say, what country are you from? What country are you from, by the way, is blatant microaggression. But even just saying, where are you from to only the black person? Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Cut that line of dialogue about building the wall. It's a little too on the nose. Who knows? In any event, this is an employee of a major game studio straight up admitting that she doesn't hire white people. And that's not just unethical, it's illegal. Okay, you're not allowed to do that.
But if someone wanted to apply and they were white and that's the reason you don't hire them, kind of effed up. Yeah, I'd say probably, but it depends on the project. Validate's a pretty big team. Okay, so wait, what is Validate exactly? Here, hold on.
Lalanders, she reportedly used to work at Sweet Baby Inc. just a year ago, and now she works for a studio at EA, one of the biggest game studios on the planet. And watch as she explains why she doesn't hire white people on her team, because apparently they
Okay, but she works under the company of EA and she has her own team. And she has a team of 21 and she gets to hand select which team of people she works with. And yeah, I guess it's like, you know, if white people apply to be on your team and you say, well, no, I'm not hired. Okay, but if their job, I don't know, you could take this a couple of different directions, I guess. You could make a fair argument. My point is, though, I just don't care that much.
Notice that she doesn't say what the microaggressions were that these terrible it's a little too on the nose. Who knows? You know, in any event, this is an employee of a major game.
But I don't think it's a hiring thing. I think that they already hire the people and then they like get to choose which teams they're on, you know? And if that's the case, I don't care as much.
Studio, straight up admitting that she doesn't hire white people. And that's not just unethical.
I could be wrong.
It's illegal. Okay, you're not allowed to do that. And it's the kind of thing that's usually left unsaid in major corporations, but it's standard practice in the games industry. Just come right out and announce it. Because you know, this is what makes people of color safe, which, by the way,
That's not what she said. Okay, sorry, I'll take it back. You shouldn't only hire people on the basis of color. You shouldn't do that. I would say, honestly, yeah, you could give more scrutiny to white people if like your goal is to make a more inclusive game and search for microaggressions, sure. If that's your team's goal, then sure. But you should give white people a chance to be like, yeah, no, I've studied this shit. I know the microaggressions. I know what to look out for. I will be a good asset to your team. Okay, that's a fair point. Fine.
This comes up that people of color, quote unquote, people of color are
I still don't care that much. Like this is
white people.
Of all the things to be talking about right now, like I just don't care that much. I'm sorry. It's not that important. It's really not.
And they're around white people. On top of everything else.
Okay, sorry, I keep pausing. But here's my biggest problem. He's acting like the entire games industry is canceling white men, okay? When this is one branch of one gigantic organization that has 21 people on it. Like, okay, if you want to go in and say, hey, man, maybe you should hire people not based on just their color. Fine. But like to make an entire production out of it, it's just pathetic. It's so pathetic, okay? Like, put in a complaint, file a complaint. Who cares? You act like this is a huge problem, and it's not. It's simply not.
It's just like factually, that's completely wrong. A black person statistically is much more likely to commit an act of violence against a white person than the other way. And that's just...
Why is that, Matt? Why? Let's talk about why. Oh, you won't do that, will you?
No getting around it. It's just a fact. But to give another example, also in response to the SBI story, a senior editor at the gaming site,
didn't get into
Kotaku, wrote, quote, "Hi,
it's just racism.
You can't be racist against white people. Thanks for tuning in." Now, the people writing this garbage are true believers. They are the...
Kotaku's not really my favorite writing thing, my favorite journalist website either. It could have been that, but it also could have been talking about systemic racism, because systemic racism, at least in the United States, does not exist against white people. It exists against black people and people of color, okay?
Low IQ foot soldier. But the reason they're so well funded is more interesting. As the former games executive Mark Kern explained this week, the cost of producing games is extremely high. It's higher than it's ever been, in fact. So game studios are looking to raise money in any way possible. And one way to get a lot of money...
By the way, chat, thank you for holding me accountable on that.
...is through ESG financing. Watch.
It's not that gamers are...
Oh, boy, the quartering.
Upset
and
about,
Cabrutus.
Oh, hey, we have
there he is. There's the boy.
It's actually the way that they go about it, with pure tokenism, with phoning in weak characters instead of creating
He looks about exactly as I would have expected. Discount me.
Strong new characters.
Me at Walmart, me
and
at home.
More importantly, it's about a vindictiveness to
they look like copy pasted of each other.
To destroy the IP, to ignore the source material, and to tear apart these beloved characters.
Okay, to be fair, we all look copy pasted a little bit.
In some sort of fitful rage that we don't understand and is very disingenuous. And I think that
the default white man, it never fails.
Squad. And this is going to have an immense financial impact. The way games are funded, you don't use your own money, even EA. Okay, games are hugely expensive to make. They're upwards of $250, sometimes $600 million. It's for certain live games. It's incredibly how expensive they are.
Like almost every game has white people as either the main cast or side cast. I know, including God of War Ragnarok, a game that Sweet Baby Inc. worked on. Isn't that weird?
And to do that, your CFO is your best friend. You're counting on your CFO to get you tax breaks,
out an A pose at the same time.
Put studios in regions which are financially favorable, and you will borrow the cheap money. You will get as cheap money to do it. Even EA does this. I worked with EA. We were putting together a deal where they were taking bailout money.
I was barely
from
listening to him.
The banks in the last financial crisis that we had, and they were applying that cheap money towards games. Same thing with COVID money. They're applying that cheap money towards games. And what has been the cheapest money while interest rates were still low, a couple of years ago? It was ESG financing. And so they're going to take this money and they're going to put it into games.
What's ESG financing? All about ethical decision making in business and investment. Okay, so they're saying they're taking ESG money for the ethical decision making that they're doing, which is like woke, quote unquote, and like putting it towards games. And that's why they're using Sweet Baby Inc. Okay, but again, if that's your problem, that's still part of the capitalist grind. I'm just saying, okay? A good capitalist will take every penny that they can, all right? So go woke, go broke? Not really. It sounds like go woke, you get loaded, apparently.
So what ESG financing entails, Kern goes on to say, is that game studios have to agree to all kinds of conditions, including hiring companies like SBI to diversify their games. In other words, what's happening here is much bigger than SBI. It's about the companies that fund SBI. And that includes a fund called Baby Ghosts, which is also run by anti-white managers who are proud of their bigotry. It also includes the biggest institutional investors on the planet, like Vanguard and BlackRock, which own a substantial portion of gaming companies like Microsoft. And these entities are creating the incentives. The only good news, as Kern points out later in that interview, is that ESG financing is drying up, in part because interest rates are changing and there's more exposure than ever to this propaganda.
I don't know much about ESG. I'm not going to
effective.
comment on it.
The U.S. government appears to be aware of that, and they view it as a potential problem. They want the propaganda to continue. And we know that because on its website, a nonprofit called Take
What
This
propaganda?
labels all criticism of SBI as harassment, and they're coordinating a response to it. What's Take This? Well, apparently, according to the website, they are a mental health nonprofit that's funded by the Department of Homeland Security. In other words, your tax dollars are paying for the defense of propagandists targeting children in the video security. In other words, according to the response to it. What's Take This? Well, apparently, according to the website, they are a mental...
If you're reading this, you've probably been hearing about what's now being called Gamergate 2. It's the latest targeted harassment campaign within the gaming industry, and it's aimed at Sweet Baby Inc., a Montreal-based narrative development studio. The campaign has also been impacting entities and games associated with Sweet Baby, journalists covering the issue, and others associated in various ways with the targets. You also may be at a loss to know how to talk about this issue, and what, if anything, you can do about it. That's where we come in. Discord, Steam, and X have been the predominant platforms where the abuse and harassment have been taking place. In these spaces, lists of game studios, companies, and associate organizations are being circulated for targeting by members of the mob. Large-scale harassment campaigns like this fuel and are fueled by political events. As political rhetoric heats up ahead of the U.S. presidential election later this year, this kind of online activity is going to ramp up, and it's important to understand that these phenomena are interrelated. As scholars and journalists have noted, the targeted harassment, hate, and cultural norms that were at the heart of Gamergate in the mid-2010s never went away. People in game spaces, especially modular, blah, 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 blah. For everyone, it's extremely important to speak out and step up for folks who are being harmed. This kind of support can take on many different forms. This can be an email or quick check-in with the people in your orbit who are targets of the harassment or are close to those targets, family members, colleagues, and friends. This is the organization that they're mad is getting funding. Literally sitting out here saying that, like, maybe we shouldn't harass people, Like, mental health and layoffs in games. It's no secret that the game industry is experiencing a significant wave of layoffs. Game industry has historically been an industry beset by job instability and turnover. So what do they provide? It's for mental health. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with them getting taxpayer dollars. They're a mental health nonprofit. Yeah, what about it? They're therapists? Like, are you kidding me? Oh, they're looking. Okay, so they have databases and shit. Okay. Online therapy resources. Free online text chat. No, I'm fine with, no, this is fine. This is just mental health. Yeah, no, sorry. Conservatives hate mental health. I love that they will simultaneously say, it bears repeating all the time. They will simultaneously say, well, the gun violence thing is about mental health. We need better mental health, right? And then at the other end of that, they'll just shit on people who have mental health issues or organizations who take money because they're a mental health nonprofit. And it's like, well, which is it, man? I know what they actually want. What they actually want is asylums open back up so that they can put people that they just deem into the asylum, shove them away, put duct tape over their mouths, put them in straitjackets in a soft padded room where they can't hurt themselves or anybody else, and forget about them. That's what they want.
Health nonprofit that's funded by the Department of Homeland Security. In other words, your tax dollars are paying for the defense of propagandists targeting children in the video game industry. For some reason, DHS is involved.
And
actually, it's worse than that. As The Intercept reported this month, quote, gaming companies are coordinating with the FBI and Department of Homeland Security to root out so-called domestic violent extremist content.
Good. They don't want Gamergate 2, okay? Wow, they learned their lesson. What a shock. Good job, FBI, seriously. Wow, they learned their lesson, and good job to the big gaming organizations who are taking part in this. Good. They should do that more. Good. I don't want people to get death and threats, okay? Gamergate was not good, as we learned in the last segment, okay? If you're watching this on YouTube, we did an extended, 2-hour session about why Gamergate was so bad and why we don't want another one, okay? So good. They shouldn't be doing this. Or sorry, the gaming industries should be doing this, is what I meant. People doing Gamergate 2 shouldn't be doing this.
Content, according to a new government report, noting that mechanisms have been established with social media companies to police
they want the
extremism.
things, but not the policies
The report
that achieve
recommends
it.
that the national security agencies establish new and similar processes with the vast gaming industry.
Good.
So what this means is that the video game industry, without a lot of fanfare, has transformed into a tool of both propaganda and surveillance.
Because they don't want people harassing other people and sending them death threats and threats.
It's an effective way to indoctrinate children precisely because it hasn't received much attention. And
Suicide Squad was 18 plus. It was 18 plus.
Spend, many of them.
One of the only games that he brought up, 2 games, Life is Strange 2 and Suicide Squad. And one of them at least was an 18 plus game. Here, what was Life of 2 rated? What was it called? Life is Strange 2. PEGI 18. Adults only. Again, so both games that he brought up, adults only. Not even M. M is 17 plus. This is 18 plus. So there you go. Why don't you get mad at the parents who let their kids play those games? They shouldn't be playing those games. I agree with Matt. Kids should not be playing those games. I agree with him on that.
Hundreds of hours a year, and that might be an undercount, a severe undercount, with this kind of content. So it should get a lot of our attention. And now finally that attention is here. And it's yet another reason to keep these games as far away from your children as possible. And if you do that,
yeah, because they're 18 plus.
Literally the lowest form of journalists on the planet will accuse you of harassment. And that's exactly how you'll know that you're doing the right thing.
It's so stupid. It's 18. They're both 18 plus. Both of the games he brought up are 18 plus. This is so stupid. Matt Walsh is a brainless piece of shit. Holy crap. Man, please birth rate go up. Make it cheaper to be a parent. No, that's communism. True. Make birth rate go up by forcing 10-year-olds to give birth, right? Right, Matt? Right, buddy? Right, Matt? He's right about that. Truly the lowest form. Yeah. Anyway, that's just, I guess that's just more evidence that this Gamergate shit is just stupid. It's just stupid. Like, who cares, man? Okay, there's legitimacy to that one thing. You should not hire people solely based on skin color. I get it. But for one thing, why don't we actually dig into why people feel the need to do that? You know what I mean? Like, why don't we address some of their concerns? Then maybe they will be convinced that they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? And for my part, the only concerns to address here are a bunch of whiners who think that white males are being taken out of games. No, they're not. Okay, many of the games that Baby Inc. worked on had white male characters, straight white male main characters, main cast. Okay, once again, God of War Ragnarok is mostly straight white men, presumably straight. You know, it's just a nothing burger. They're complaining about nothing. Okay. They're just trying to rile up the jimmies of the liberals. They're just trying to trigger liberals is all it is. They're just trying to trigger the liberals. That's all it is. That's all it ever has been. And that's all it ever will be. Right? Right, Matt? Right, buddy? Right, Matt?
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.